Good day. Joyce Feustel, welcoming you to Save Time Using LinkedIn. I'm the founder of Boomer Social Media Tutor, and I'm so happy that you've joined us for our free webinar today. We're going to be going through some basic points that, trust me, will save you time when you use LinkedIn. I'm just going to hazard a guess, it will dramatically change your LinkedIn experience. The process of this webinar is we're going to be going back and forth between this PowerPoint, you're seeing the covered slide right now, and LinkedIn itself. So let's get rolling. Here are the topics we're going to cover, and most of the time will be spent on the first bullet, grouping together similar activities. Then we'll move into checking for messages, and finally touch upon the templates that I'll show you, my templates, in that first section, and how you too can have templates. And be sure to stay on till the very end of the webinar, because that's when you're going to hear about the special offer. So let's go into the very first one. Actually, we have one more overview, and that is going to be saying, what are these similar activities? Sending LinkedIn invites, accepting LinkedIn invites, writing follow-up notes to your new connections, and then reviewing notifications. Sending LinkedIn invites. My very first tip for you is please write a personal note. Even you millennials out there that are doing this on your phone, if you talk to me offline, I'll show you how you can even do that on a mobile device. Now we're looking at the computer. I would say send these invites, once, maybe twice a week. Probably depends how much networking you're doing in any one week. Each invite, when you use the template, takes, I'd say, about a minute. Seriously, even if you don't type fast. What are these kind of invites? Well, let's say you met them while networking. That's one type of group of people. Maybe somebody did an email introduction of that person and you. I have samples of all these, by the way. And then you found them on LinkedIn. Now, when you send this invite, here are the kind of things to mention in your 300 characters, so you've got to be succinct. Of course, if it was a place where you met, then reference that networking group or that event, or wherever it was. In my case, I'm going to use some people from my Toastmasters Club. That's a speaking and leadership organization, which leads nicely into the next point. If you have some common interest as far as organizations you belong to, you can throw that in. The field you're in, the field they're in, maybe it's the same, maybe it's related, and then people you both know. These last really 3 bullets especially apply to when you're the one reaching out to that person who you find on LinkedIn. Yeah, I know that can seem kind of scary and like, why are you doing that, Joyce? It's still a good idea. Think about it. You can expand your world just through LinkedIn. And not for everybody, of course, but do suggest getting together for coffee or lunch. You could do that, of course, locally, easy, and then if they're at a distance, or even if they're on the other side of the Denver metro area where we're doing this webinar from, you could do it through, say, like a Zoom meeting or just a phone call. Now is the point where we're going to just pause this, and you'll be on this slide for just a little bit while I go over into LinkedIn and pull that up for us. Let me get back into there. Sorry, just for the slight delay. Okie doke, now I get the screen back up. Now you should be seeing LinkedIn. I always like to go to home, it just grounds me. So we go to home, and what we're going to do in this first activity is send the invites, like I was telling you. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go here and look for 2 people who just last night said they would join my Toastmasters Club. Timberline Toastmasters meets over by University of Denver, just a quick PR. All right, here we go. Ryan Allaire, such a sweetie pie, sat right next to him. So here, now I could click and connect, but I might want to go in and see if there's anything else I want to say about Ryan in this invite I'm sending. But for sake of time, I'm just going to click on the connect button. Now, this doesn't directly get your connection going. There's one more step. Very tempting just to click on send now. Do not do that. Take Joyce's advice. Click on add a note. So I'm going to say something real basic. Let's see. I'm delighted that you are joining Timberline Toastmasters. Let's connect on LinkedIn to stay in touch between meetings. Then I'll say it was fun sitting by you last night. Something, I don't know. Just think of something you could say extra if you want to. Sitting by you last night. You could just do it just the main one. Now, before I send this off, watch carefully. I'm going to go here, and now I'm going to copy this whole section. You can copy it from here. There we go. And we're going to copy that, send the invite off to Ryan. There, it's off to him, and it tells you right there. You invite Win to Ryan. So now you know you got that set and done. The next one I want to send is to Stephanie. Now, Stephanie I actually originally met through our Meetup group because she found our club through Meetup. And she and I had a lovely visit afterwards. And remember, we were talking, and I'm going to send her a note here and watch again carefully. I'll type here, hi, Stephanie. Like that. Oops, Stephanie. Now, there's that same note I sent to Ryan. See how swift that is? Loved our chat after the meeting. Now, I wasn't timing myself, but those went pretty quickly. And one of the reasons they went quickly, sort of on the average, is when you have that commonality there, where you have the same kind of information you can say. You're just doing copy and paste, copy and paste. Very smooth. Now, let's look at this second type of person you could run into. In my case, it's going to be Hannah Smith. Hannah Smith was introduced to me, just I looked her up the other day, so she should become right. Here she is, by a business colleague of mine, who's a personal friend now. So at this point, I don't know a lot about Hannah, but I have done a little bit of research just from our phone call, so I'm not going to have to look through her profile. But I'm going to click on Connect. I'm going to add that note, and I'm going to say, hi, Hannah, and I'm going to say, I look forward to our phone call next week. So this one doesn't have to be all that long because, you know, she and I just really had an interaction. Let's connect on LinkedIn. I think I'd say here, to get to know each other better before our chat. So you see, don't overthink these, but do write something kind of personalized. Now here's the final one, and this is the one that certainly would take a little more thought. And actually, I'm probably not going to type it all right here in front of, you know, you and God and everybody kind of thing. But I am going to show you kind of what I would do to set myself up. So Trinity Clancy came up in my People You May Know section, several days ago. And I've been thinking about her, and I thought, you know what, she's a good example to use for this webinar today. So I like right away the fact that she's reaching out to people who overlap in part with my age group that I'm looking for. I'm looking not only for people in their 60s, as probably Trinity is, but also into maybe their 50s, even 40s and younger, but mostly I'd say the older Gen Xers and then the boomers. So she herself might even qualify by age for that. So, oh my gosh, look at that, 198 people. That's a lot of folks we have in common. Again, before I send the note, I might even look for a couple of those. She's got over 1,200 connections on LinkedIn. That lady's rocking LinkedIn. And, unless she had a gap after high school, she is about 10 years younger than me. Okay, just making an estimate there. So what I'll do with her, again, I won't write her the actual note, but you've seen me do this several times now. You know how to send that. So I hope you're getting the idea of how this works when these different kinds of people. So you get in different types of mindsets. You get network mindset. You have that one-to-one, and then these people you're essentially prospecting on LinkedIn. Now we're going to just pause here briefly before we go back into the PowerPoint and go to the next one, which is accepting the invites. And you know what? There is a lot of information on this webinar, that's for sure. But there's a lot more in my paid webinar series. So I really hope you consider looking into that, because there's one on your profile, one on your how to search on LinkedIn, and one on how to communicate with your connections. Lots of value there. So make sure to stay tuned to the end and you get that special offer. Okie doke. Now we're on the second type of activity, accepting LinkedIn invites. These can be really pesky, don't you think? When you just think, who is that guy anyway? I would say once or twice a week. Again, it depends how many invites you get. Even once, probably plenty. When you're making those decisions, look for the shared connections. Just like when I saw with Trinity. holy cow, almost 200. So I had something to talk about. And when she sees my invite come through, she'll probably, because she's LinkedIn savvy, look and see who these share connections are. So bottom line, is there a reason to connect with this person? Now, here's a cool trick that you can do. Really cool. Not trick, a tip, really. So what I want you to do is while you're in that screen where your pending invites are in front of you, I want you to go up to the top of all your invites, and you're going to see Manage All. Manage All. And then when you click on that, there will be all these pending invites. And there'll be the word message by each of these people. Well, it might occasionally say reply if they sent you a note, but usually message. Be direct. Just ask them, why did they reach out to you? So let's go back into LinkedIn, and I can show you what I'm talking about. And here we are back at home. Like I say, I always like to start at home. We're going into my network. Let's see. I think I've got some pending people. Oh, look at that. I've got Luke, and I've got Christian. Now, it appears that I don't have any people that I don't want to connect with. So if that's how I felt about either of these gentlemen, I would have read through their LinkedIn profile and say, really, I don't see a reason to connect with them. So I think what I'm going to do now is I'm going to first look at Luke first. All right, Luke Graham, let's see. Okay, well, looks like kind of a young guy, so it certainly wouldn't hit my age group of, who I work with. 9 mutual connections. Well, I would certainly take time and look through that, see if I know some of those people. Again, I don't want to take too much time here in the webinar. Oh, Regis, you know what? My daughter's thinking of going to school. My daughter does writing. I should at least get the two of them together. I bet they'd have ideas. Oh, Steamboat, interesting. Colorado guy, went to see Boulder. All right, okay. Looks like, he's not a scary dude or anything, so I think what I'm going to do, but I'm not going to just accept him. I mean, he's almost like veers toward why not just accept. But I want to use this opportunity here to show you this cool tip. So click on Manage All. There we go, Manage All. And here, like I said, you can do Message. Now, this will take us into our managing, into our messages, I mean. And I haven't even connected with him yet. Like, pay attention here, because you think, how could I write to him? Do I have a paid account? No, this has nothing to do with paid accounts. This is a feature that's available to you. So just make it really short and sweet. Hi, Luke. Thanks for the invite. What prompted you, this is my language, use your own, to reach out to me? Here we go. Now, that's how, and by the way, I want to show you that just in case I forget later in the message section, if you are one of those people I haven't caught on yet, why in the heck have your messages been going out when you hit enter? And that is so the heck annoying, don't you think? That's because LinkedIn did a stupid thing not too long ago, and this is the default. I mean, why, LinkedIn? Why would you do that? Okay, now this hopefully is worth your whole time just on here to see this. So you go in, and maybe you've got your computer, of course you do, you're watching this webinar, go next time you go into LinkedIn, and make sure it says send, 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 not enter. Then you won't embarrass yourself. Okay, sounds like a lecture, but it is. All right, so now we've got this done. And oh, Christian, let's see. Christian Felix. Wow, I love that headline. Right away, I'm interested in Christian. Managing Director of Sales and Sales Strategy. 88 mutual connections. Woo, 3,300 followers. I like, I'll connect with your, people. Well, that's the one thing is sort of a downside. I want to know more about it. But already, oops, here, I got to move this down. Get a full screen again. Can you help me with that? Here. So can everybody see this okay? I think I got into too small a screen. Oh, there it is. Oh, my bad, people. Here we go. You should see okay now. All right. Now we're all right. So at any rate, I'm going back to look at Christian. I would spend more time if I just now encountered him, actually had researched him before. So for him, I can accept him here. It doesn't really matter. So click on there. I'm going to hold off on Luke until I hear back from him, and then accept Christian. Okay? So this tells you that you did it. So now there you have it. So those are just some basic things when it comes to accepting people. Now we're going to be going back into the PowerPoint for our next point, which has to do with, now that I have these people that I'm accepting, then what should I do after that? Now, I'll be honest, for the longest time, I hardly did anything. But, oh, yeah, I had one more thing to say that I was thinking about that I've noticed, and I've been doing this, 4 years now. When people pay money, say an hourly session, or they get a webinar like this, I found, they really make progress on LinkedIn. It's been interesting to me to see that difference. Just thought I'd mention that. Okay, back here we are in the PowerPoint. Oh, let's see. Depends, again, 1 or 2 times a week. Depends how many people you've been connecting with. And when you use this handy-dandy template, then what happens there is that you can do it in about a minute, I'd say. What would you say in your standardized note? Something like, I suggest, an offer of assistance, a summary of your services or the products you sell, your contact information. Yes, I know that your contact information is already in your profile, but believe it or not, your connections who could have just gone over there and looked for it might not think to do it, might not know really how to find it. So let's just be helpful to them. Let's not shame them and say, why don't you understand how to use LinkedIn? So then we have one more thing I'm going to show you. Now, you're saying to me, Joyce, where do I go? Do I need to go into each of their individual profiles? That's going to take me a long time. Heck no. Again, there's a way you can save time when you're going to write to maybe 5 or 6 or 10 or whatever you got going you haven't written to yet. You're going back to that My Network part, then you're going to click on See All, and you will see all your recently added people. Then over to the right of their picture and name and their headline, you'll see the word Message. Okay, you're going to see that in just a little bit, but we do have to pause and go back over into LinkedIn. Actually, in this case, I'm just going to start right from where we left off. And there's Luke, we're waiting on him. Here we go, See All, See All. Now I'll see all my recently added people. Now I wrote to Sanafa last night. I just kept a mental note of that to save time so I wouldn't have to go wondering. But if I was not sure and you're thinking, well, I don't want to send a double message, how am I going to know about that? Here, I'll show you a really cool trick. So let's just look at Sanafa. Let's say I'm not sure about her. S-A-N-A-P-H-A. I'm not even going to remember her last name. Phew. And see, there I wrote her. Thanks for accepting, blah, blah, blah. So I wrote her. Oh, sweet. So I know now where to start. So I'm going to just get rid of this. I don't need that anymore. So I'm going back into My Network. And so the next person I like to me, I'm just linear, I would go say to Jennifer. But I saw she just wrote me a personal note, so I'd want to respond to that separately. I think I'm going to go to Pamela first, because I don't believe I've gotten a note from Pamela. But, oh, did the wrong thing. I don't want to message her from here. I like to keep it, that's more work, right? Here's where you message, right here, right here. So now, just watch very carefully. I keep my Word document open on my computer. That's where I have this standardized template. So I would just copy this all the way down. Actually, usually, maybe it works better from the bottom. So I just take this and I put it into that invite. So I'm just going to go here. Oops, here will work. All the way up. Not quite all that far. So I'm going to copy that. Now we go back into LinkedIn. And then I'm just going to go here. And then here I would take some time. And I'm not going to send this to Pamela because I want to go and just, review my notes, remember how I met her, and write a little bit more into it. But I want to show you what I put into this template. I already talked about it, but here's an example of what I'm saying. The free offer. My free offer is 10-minute virtual session on LinkedIn. Here's my services, my private tutoring, my group training, webinars like this one. So I put in a link to the landing page where they can buy those webinars on my website through PayPal, and a link to my free webinar. I'll be adding this one later too. And then I say, oh, by the way, I also can help you with Facebook, Pinterest, and Twitter. And as I said, here's my contact information. So now those are all these things I'm going to share in this note that I'm going to send off to Pamela later today when I have more time to really customize it just a little bit. But I wanted to show you how easy it is to send these follow-up notes. And now we'll be going back again to our final part of our 4-part similar type of activities. And that is going to be the notifications. And this is, I call, kind of the schmoozy part. Oh, I'm sorry. I got ahead of myself here. Notifications. Oh, there we go. You should all be seeing PowerPoint. Again, check these once or twice a week. If you're not super duper active on LinkedIn like me, LinkedIn Geek, maybe just, again, once a week. But don't wait much longer than that, because cool stuff could be in there. How much time, again, will depend on how many notifications you get, which in many ways also derives from how many connections you have. I like to group together my activities within this overarching activity of reviewing notifications. I like to send my notes of congrats at the same time, and I also like to respond to comments on my post in a kind of a systematic way. But I'll just do a couple so I show you what I'm referring to. Back to LinkedIn. This time we'll go back to home. Now, earlier this year there was a big change of interface on how things look. You may or may not have paid attention to that, but now, and there used to be a flag back when, now is a bell. So here's notifications. Let's see what my notifications are. Oh, that's so cool. These people like my article. Oh, some people commented on it too. Oh, wow. Okay, well, actually, this is actually on this webinar. Thanks, Joyce. I'll be in a meeting, but looking forward to the recording. Huh, that's so cool. So I'll say, you know, I could write to it and say, yep, it will go out to you soon. To you soon. So just some little thing like that. You can skip that if you wanted to. Let's go back into notifications. So I'm going to look and see if there's anything else. I know that I could, oh, there's 4 comments. I wonder if there's a new comment on my article I wrote about Toastmasters and how it's helped me in my business. So I go back down here, and there, oh, there's Lalina. I don't think I wrote to her yet. So now I'll just write here and say, yeah. You know, it's actually, I do remember connecting with her. It's so cool that you and I are in Toastmasters, oops, and in social media. Glad you liked, because she's a social media professional like me. Glad you liked the article. So I'm just, oh, you got a little typo there. Oops. Toastmasters. Nice to catch that. I was an English major once. I get picky. All right, thank you. Oops. There. Glad you like the article. And then I might even tag her. Actually, it's a good time to do that. So watch this. See the little @ sign? Maybe you know all about that. Now, this is calling tagging. Essentially, what you're doing is you're mentioning her. So Lalina is kind of right there at the bottom of the screen. But see how there's that blue, that blue shading? And now what that's done is that's caused that to go. Oh, I'm having issues with this, aren't I? Thanks for your patience, guys. And then I'll just scroll down and I'll click on reply. So I'll just do that later, but you get the general idea. Back to notifications. That got me into the other guy who commented. So I wanted to show you just one other thing you can do in notifications, and that is where you can congratulate people for, let's see, people view my profile, endorse me. I was looking for people that got jobs. Happy birthday, I don't know. I usually just do that on Facebook. So here's somebody. Here's where I actually already, you know, written to him, and it tells me I wrote CJ a message. So if I want to say congratulate Kathleen, I would go in there, I could look back, what was the job she has, what's up with Kathleen, and I would write her a note and click on send. So I don't have to go through all that steps, you know the process. But I just like to group these together because to me that really helps me just get my mind organized while I'm doing that. So now we finished our final section in the grouping together. And we're going to go back over into our PowerPoint to look at messaging. And I want to remind you to please stay on till the end so that you can find about the special offer I have that relates to purchasing that webinar series. Checking for messages. Don't need to spend a lot of time on that. We've already done quite a bit of messaging already, or I have, and showing you. But I do suggest that what you do is, please, I beg of you, go into these messages, I would say once a week at the latest. Once a day if you can. But once a week would help. I know a client of mine, or I have a client, I should say, who had a $700 deal. He lost that deal because it came through a message someone sent him. Oh my goodness, that's a sad thing when he missed that. So be as timely as you possibly can. And a lot of times I will just go ahead and move that communication off of LinkedIn over into email, because then I think there's less chance of losing each other. People check their email typically a lot more than they check their LinkedIn, or even text if you think that's better for that particular person. You could ask them, and after your email, you say, would you rather text, or how do you want to communicate? So now what we'll be doing is just pausing briefly for, actually this will be our last trip back into LinkedIn. So let's just do that. And I'll show you just some messages that have come up. And here we have messaging. So messaging are found right up here. See these little kind of little boxes? And they're, holy cow, there's that guy from Toastmasters. He's already accepted my invite. Oh, that just makes my day. And here's Jennifer Johnson, and she wrote me a note. I'm going to look more at that. She's catching up. I may reach out later. Natalie Elton's got a recommendation for me. Holy cow, that's so sweet of her. I want to get in to see that. So I would, now I've looked at it. I know I'm going to go back and review it. I won't take time there, but that's how you review recommendations. And watch out, because there could be a typo. Not that there is with Natalie, but there could be. No, Daryl Stern, I don't think I've looked at this one yet. Oh, he must have talked to me, invite me to a 3-day workshop. Wow, sounds interesting. I will definitely be getting back to him after the after this webinar. Now, sometimes you could just use these if it's just a quick little thing or thanks, but usually I don't say anything, or I write a real message. So now you get the general idea of how messages work. They're pretty straightforward. And if you ever want to search, a message thread you've had with someone, like I was trying to remember before about that Sinafa lady, so you just type their name here and just search messages, hit enter, and then there you go. You'll be able to track down that, because these are really like your sent messages and your incoming messages. Back into LinkedIn, we have to pause. Back, excuse me, into my PowerPoint. And templates, our final slide. Well, almost the final slide. Now, what I want to do is just review what kind of templates I've been using. I wrote personal notes to those 2 people from my Toastmasters Club. And remember how what I did is I copy and pasted that top part, because that was pretty much the same information, and then I personalized the rest of the note. So that's a personal note. The next would be those follow-up notes. That's the most complex message. That's the one where essentially you're reintroducing yourself to a person, whether you've met them networking, or maybe if they just found you on LinkedIn and they just very casually sent that LinkedIn invite and you accept it, you think, well, I better really inform this person about what I'm about. And then finally, in those iffy situations, like I wasn't sure there about Luke, if I should connect with him or not, you might want to, just to avoid typos and just a hassle of like typing the same thing over and over, just have a little template created there. So that's how that will work. Now, what am I talking about with my, and again, we just talked about all these things, group, similar activities, messages, and using templates. Kind of just did sort of a review. Here we go, my LinkedIn webinar series. Created that not too long ago, and I promise you, you purchase this webinar series and you use it with the workbooks that come with it, you will skyrocket your LinkedIn results. I just know what happens. I've gotten such fabulous feedback from my people who actually already purchased these webinars. Your whole professional credibility will step up, and people will start telling you this. This actually happened to one of my clients who got that webinar. And each webinar is $49, but if you get the whole series of 3, that's $99, really the better value when you think about it. And this is the landing page where you go to my website and order it, and you pay through PayPal. Or just, go to my website, and my landing page will pop right out there. Just to review what's in these webinars, there's the one, as I mentioned earlier, on enhancing your LinkedIn profile. That really goes into great detail on every single part of your profile. Then how do you search on LinkedIn? And you can still search with a free account and do powerful searches. And finally, communicating with your LinkedIn connections. All kinds of ways you can communicate with them. Now, here's the offer I've been talking about. If you purchase not just one webinar. You got to get all three. But again, like I say, it's a better value anyway, the $99. If you purchase these by July 12th, I will send you sample notes that you can just plug and play. You'll be off to the races. You'll have everything ready to go, and you won't have to do the mental heavy lifting to pull together how to create them. You can just adapt them to yourself. So this is Joyce Weistel saying, I hope you look into those free webinars. I encourage you to do that. Follow my YouTube channel where you see my other free webinars, Sharing and Schmoozing on LinkedIn. And thank you so much for your valuable time today to go through this webinar with me, saving time, using LinkedIn. Joyce Weistel, Boomer Social Media Tutor. Have a good rest of your day.